So in this presentation, we're going to talk about Algorand smart contracts and how Algorand smart contracts can be used for various functions or purposes. Algorand smart contracts are also called ASC1. These are small programs that serve various functions on the blockchain and operate on the layer 1. Now, Algorand smart contracts can be categorized into two: the stateless and stateful smart contracts. Both stateless and stateful smart contracts can be written in Teal. Teal is an Algorand smart contract new programming language that can be used to perform various transactions from one account to another. Now, Teal stands for Transaction Execution Approval Language. Right, Teal is an assembly-like language that is being written to a block of stack on our machines. So to get started for this presentation, we're going to create a simple desktop application that one can generate account addresses with. In our previous presentation, which the link will be dropped below in the description box, we talked about how to generate account addresses using PyTeal. PyTeal is an Algorand smart contract that can be used or written with Python. So instead of writing it in Teal directly, you can use Python to write your code, which will then be compiled into Teal language before it can be used. So PyTeal, or Algorand smart contracts in general, have various SDKs that can be used to write or program. We can use the JavaScript, we can use Python, we can use C#. In our previous presentation, we used Python through the use of PyTeal, and we wrote programs on how to create an account address and then how to perform a withdrawal transaction from an account. If you would like to look it up, check the description box below for the link. So for this demo purpose, we're going to create a desktop application, not just a console application like we did earlier on. It's going to be a desktop application where one can easily access from his or her PC. So I'm using the C# framework, .NET Core. With this, I'm going to use the WinForms. WinForms stands for Windows Forms. Right, so Windows Forms can be used to generate or develop desktop applications that would work on various PCs, Windows PCs. So I already have my Visual Studio installed and opened over here. To do this, we have to install the necessary packages or tools needed to be able to run this program. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new project to get started. So we have various templates. If you install the Visual Studio, you will have the full-fledged package to download or develop almost any kind of application you want. Varieties. Let's over here to search and then search for WinForms. Alright, so we can see Windows Forms app .NET Framework. We can see Windows Forms app .NET Core. So .NET Framework is the older version or older framework that is being used in .NET ecosystem. .NET Core is a newer version. We're going to use the .NET Framework to test it for this demo purpose. We also have a bunch of other applications that can be created. As you can see, this is a project template, a project for creating an application with Windows Forms or WinForms user interface. We use C#. It works on Windows desktop it's a desktop application. So we're going to go ahead and create a new Windows Forms application. Click on next, and then I'm going to name this desktop Algorand app. Then go ahead and create it after naming your project. Right, so we have our project creating. In some few seconds it should be done. So with the C# frameworks, you can develop a variety of multiple applications within the ecosystem. We can develop mobile applications, we can develop desktop applications, we can develop web applications, Internet of Things. We have machine learning with the machine learning.net framework, or we have a variety of tools that can be used to build applications. Alright, so depending on how fast your PC is, it will determine how fast your project will start. Alright, so we have our project ready. Creation of project was successful. Alright, so this is how Windows Forms look like. Nothing too complex about it, nothing too bulky. You can resize it, it's that flexible. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to definitely need the package. We're going to install the Algorand package into our desktop application that can be used to generate our account addresses. Mind you, this is a simple application that demonstrates or shows how account addresses can be created using C# .NET framework. So let's right click on our project, the desktop Algorand app. Go ahead and right click and then head over to manage NuGet packages. So the manage NuGet packages is a tool that can be used to install packages, SDKs, various tools that will help development easier, faster and better. So let's head over and search for Algorand. Alright, so we can see our Algorand package over here, the Algorand SDK for the .NET framework to interact with the Algorand network. Now let's go. There are different versions, 0.1.0 up to this latest version over here, which is a stable version. So let's go ahead and install our package. It's still new, authored by Riley on Friday, May 29th, 2020, this year. So this might take a little bit of time as it's going to install the package. So we have a pop-up. I'm going to click on OK and accept. The Windows Forms is a little bit outdated, but still easy to use, and it's still being used a lot. It has been replaced by the .NET Core. So you can see all the movement around here because Algorand has been installed. You can see it over here. Inside of our references, you can see our Algorand package has been installed successfully. So let's head back to our Windows form. Like I said, very easy to use, just a drag and drop simple process that can be used for it. So let's head over to view and open our toolbox. So this toolbox is what we're going to use to write the controls, the buttons that will be created, and all the other necessary things needed for this project. So let's head over here, click on it and then drag it into your Windows Forms. Alright, okay, so over here we can see the properties, the button properties. If you can't see it, just right click and then search for the properties and then click on it. So I'm going to head over here and then rename this to generate account address. Okay, I'm going to make the button a little bit longer and then move it to the middle of the screen. Right, I also like to change how the form looks like, the color, the back color. Alright, let me make it a little bit darker. Yeah, this looks okay. Alright, so we're also going to need a label. You can use a label, anything to display a text. You can use a label, link label, a list box, a text box, whichever one you decide to use, but I'm going to use a label. Alright, and I'm going to rename this to nothing so we can't see it. Alright, let me create a variety of different text box or tools that will display text back into our view. So I'm also going to have this here, so all of them are going to display. Let me just leave the two for now. So both of them are going to display the addresses that have been created. So having done this, go ahead and right click on this button, the generate account address button that was created. Right click on it. It'll take us to the code behind. This is where the logic will be, or logic will come from. Alright, so we have installed our Algorand package, which now enables us to use the package to connect with Algorand network. So I'm going to go ahead and make an instance of account. This is called instantiation. I'm creating a new instance of an account using an object. What this does is this account over here will have access to everything that is inside this account. This account is a function, is a built-in function from our Algorand package that was installed. So as you can see, line beneath it, it doesn't recognize what this account means. I'm trying to call a method and it does not recognize the method. That's because we have not imported the package into our code behind. So I'm going to go ahead and click on show potential fixes. This should display the Algorand package that we will need to import into our code. Is a using statement using Algorand. Alright, so we have using Algorand and then using Algorand.algo.client model. We're going to use the first one using Algorand. So this is a namespace. We can see it over here. It has been added into our software. So having done this, we can go ahead and create a variable called display address. Remember, I said this account over here has access to all the built-in functions inside of account, which means this account can access everything inside this here. So we can call any function using account dot. So we can see the various functions: address, append multisig, append logical sig, logic sig, clear text public key, sign by ID, sign bytes, sign logic sig, sign multisig transaction. All this to mnemonic, all this can be used because we have imported the library or package for Algorand. So for this, I'm going to use the address because we are trying to print out or generate an account address that can be used for transactions. Address to string. Alright, so this is pretty much all that is needed for this desktop application. The next thing we need to do is display what our address is. You can also play around, create other variables that can display other things, maybe mnemonics, anything you want. You can go ahead and play around with it if you're following along. So the next thing I'm going to do is, we're inside our private button, we're inside our button function. So whenever the button is clicked, the code behind inside the button is what will be performed inside of our application. So let's go ahead and make a label one.text. So the label we imported or we dragged and dropped into our form is what I'm trying to call here. It's a label one. So label one.text. I'm trying to tell the text what the label should contain. The text that the label should contain should be my display address. And then we created a text box one.text. I'm going to do the same thing. Display address. Alright, so let's go ahead and start up our application. Of course, you can do it from here. So I'm going to start without debugging. This will launch faster. And hopefully we are not missing anything, and we should get the application up and running in no time. Right, so our project is trying to build. This is the first time we're building, so it's going to take some time. Just a few seconds. Build was succeeded, so our project should launch now. Alright, so we have our generate account button. So whenever it's clicked, as you can see, we have our account address over here. So I'm going to go ahead and rename it. The reason why I made a label box, a label text, and also the text form is because I can use it when using the text form. I can copy what is inside of it, but the label box cannot be copied. It just displays a text that cannot be copied. So I'm going to go back to my form and then redesign this. I am trying to find my, let me drag this here and make it longer. Alright, so I'm trying to look for my label. Unfortunately for me, I did not label it. So by the way, I can go ahead and add another one. I can just ignore this current one. So I'm going to drag this. So I'm not going to rename this. I'll leave it as label 2. I'll go back to the code behind and then change this label 1 to label 2 because we just added the second label. And then let's go ahead and build it again. So we should get another different address because we are generating different addresses. Generate an account address. So what this label 2 will display should be the same with what this text box should display. So I've clicked the button and alright, so I can see my address. The address over here actually corresponds with the address over here. So that is our account address, and that is it for now. So if you want, you can go ahead and do some more additional things. Okay, I don't need this. Alright, so I'm going to create a new variable, account mnemonic. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to add a new text box. The same height, and then this will display, this will be longer actually. It's going to display the account mnemonic. So these are series or bunch of codes. You can look at them like passwords that need to be entered. If you're trying to verify yourself, you have to enter that, just like a two-factor authentication. So this is a text box 2. I can head over here and copy this. I don't have to write it again from scratch. Alright, so my text box 2 should display or return back the account mnemonic for me, provided no errors found. Alright, so we have our account address, and then we have a mnemonic: female, melody, talent, fiction, damn, sunset, lens, diverse. So I could just Control A and then copy it if I want to ever use it. I could do the same thing for this, the address, Control A and copy it. So that's basically it for this. Alright, so that's all for this tutorial or presentation. So in our next presentation, we are going to develop a mobile application that will do similar. Mobile application that we can generate account addresses that can be used for transactions. So alright, everything works fine, build successfully, application run successfully. If you are following along, you can just do exactly what I did here to get your results. Alright, so that's it for now. Thank you.